Welcome back to Trinity Talks. In listening to politicians, healthcare professionals, and even pastors, a common phrase that keeps coming up is, "We have not been this way before." The pandemic has brought new challenges and new frustrations for one and all. I have been thinking about this phrase. We have not been this way before. The last pandemic took place in 1918, and none of us were born at that time. So, right, we have lots to learn because we have never been this way before. In the late 1400s, Christopher Columbus convinced the King and Queen of Spain that there was an alternate route to the Orient, a western route. And after much persuasion, the King of Spain sponsored his expedition. Columbus was convinced that there were more lands to discover, new places to explore. We have not passed this way before. Columbus was only too happy to discover this new way. In Joshua 3, we find the Israelites getting ready to cross the River Jordan. And it was time to cross that river and explore the new lands that had been promised to them by God. Joshua and Caleb had only waited 40 years for this moment. The night before the crossing, army officers went throughout the camp and gave people instructions. Verses 3 and 4 read, "When you see the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord your God and the priests, who are Levites, carrying it, you are to move out from your position and follow it. Then you will know which way to go, since you have never been this way before." There are those words again. Since you have never been this way before. Verse 5 says, Joshua told the people, "Consecrate yourselves, for tomorrow the Lord will do amazing things among you." We have not been this way before, locked up in our homes. It's strange. It's difficult. Our lives have been disrupted. But I believe God is asking of us what He asked the Israelites to do, to consecrate ourselves, to sanctify or set ourselves apart. God has something special in store for us, and He wants us to be spiritually prepared. Something new is on the horizon. There are new places in Him to discover, and perhaps we are on the brink of the greatest end-time revival that has been predicted. Verse 5 continues, "For tomorrow the Lord will do amazing things among you." Perhaps you have been asking yourself the question, perhaps wondering, what's next, God? I know I have been asking God this very question since the beginning of the year, especially since Tanya's healing, because life has returned to somewhat normal. God does not want our lives to be boring. He has new adventures for us, new discoveries to make about Him. He wants us to step out in faith. Sometimes it's blind faith, and to do things we have never done. He wants us to leave the comforts of doing things the same way and to discovering more of what He has for us. God wants us to do something very special, amazing things. But we cannot remain settled in our walk with God. The Israelites were not to remain camped on the east side of the Jordan River. They were to cross it and to take the land. Christopher Columbus was not satisfied with the eastern routes to the Orient. He was convinced there was a western way, and he kept making the voyages back and forth across the Atlantic because he knew there were more lands to discover. The same is true in our spiritual life. There are exploits awaiting us, but we must be willing to leave where we are camped and to set out on these new adventures in God. Keep longing for God. Keep seeking His face. Don't settle for the predictable. Yearn for God. There's a place in God that is beyond the norm. Our lives have been disrupted. We have never been here before. We do not know what the future holds, but we do know who holds the future. God will go before us to guide us. And perhaps God is saying to you, you have not been this way before. Take this time to consecrate yourself to me, because tomorrow I will do amazing things among you. Until next time, be blessed and stay safe.